up, everybody? Cinephile Mike here. I have the pleasure of sitting and chatting with Bart Schrijver, the writer, director, and producer of the new film The North. Bart, how you doing today?
I'm very good. Thank you very much.
So, just really simple, diving in. Talk to me a little bit about this film. Where did the idea for this come from?
So the film is about these two friends hiking 600 kilometers through Scotland, and it has its base in me and a friend hiking 3,000 kilometers through New Zealand. So you have the two islands of New Zealand, and we walked from the most northern tip to the most southern tip. We also slept in the same tent as the two guys do in the film, and it's and I kept a diary. And when I was there, what I noticed is that I was so busy with myself and with my own stuff that even though that we were together for the whole time, there was not a lot of connection. And then I started thinking more about my life and also other people. Is I had roommates for quite a while, but how well do I actually know these people that I am in so close contact with for like this very long periods? And I think that was something that was interesting to me. And I thought, okay, I really like hiking. I like going outdoors, and I like the feeling of what that's like. And I also didn't have a lot of films that when you that really depict the feeling of what it's like to be out there. Usually, it needs this drama element, and someone needs to die, or someone needs to cheat on their wife with their best friend. And I think, but that's not really the actual feeling of being out there. And so those two things I kind of wanted to combine in a story.
And congrats on this is your second feature film, and I watched here's the first. So you clearly love to shoot the outdoors. There's something about that that's what is it about you that strikes you as a filmmaker? You said it's like you don't want to always have to have someone who dies or something trauma, but what is it about the outdoors that makes you just that strikes you as a filmmaker?
Well, there's a couple of things. First, the practical one. When I started out and I wanted to make longer films, it's very expensive. It's very tricky. You need a lot of people. You need a lot of time. But the nice thing about going outdoors and going on these hikes is, the first film we shot with only 5 people crew. The second film we did with 6, and then 2 people of production helping out. So that's already very doable in the sense of budget. The second thing is that we are actually walking the path. So we have everything in our backpacks. We don't have big expensive hotels. We don't have lighting vans. We don't have all these big things. We take all the food that we need with us in the backpack. So by actually doing it, we just save money. And that was when I was in Norway by myself, walking the path that the first film is about. I thought, okay, not only do I want to make a film about the feeling being here, but I think it's also actually doable. And that was important. And then for me, what I really love about what this gives in a story is when you're out in nature for a month or 2 months, there is no new information comes into your system. So everything that's out, what happens to you is already in you, and it gives this time and space for reflection. And I think that's very interesting, because then the problems that arise, they're in such a vacuum that you have to be truthful in your storytelling. There's no things that can save you. There's no, okay, let's maybe do a chase scene, or maybe, oh, we'll make a romantic B story. No, there's just the essence of what is happening with these people, and nature and the effect of that. And that's very scary. Well, if you see my first film, it's also about one character. There's nowhere to hide. So either it's truthful, or it's not, and I think that's very interesting. And then the last thing that I really like, there's kind of two things. One is I really love going outdoors, so why not combine the two things that I love, going into nature and making films? But also there's a freedom there, because when we make the film in chronological order. We start at the beginning, we finish at the end, and so also the actors and everyone is kind of growing in their roles, and it means that when we get somewhere, if I want to do something else, I can just change it in a second, or I can add new scenes, or we get to a location, and we have to come up with everything in the spot, because there's no shot lists. The camera man has never seen those locations, so we need to be really creative. But that means that we're also incredibly free, and those are the things that why I really like making films like this.
And so you talked about small cast working outside, which is, a little easier, not having to juggle as many people. Talk to me about your casting. So the two that carry this film, they're incredible. How did you find them? What was your rehearsal process like? Were they experienced hikers, or what kind of learning curves did this? Like, how did you prep for this?
Well, it's a long and short story. The casting process was me calling them, asking them if they wanted to join.
Okay.
That's so there's no, and because I live in Barcelona, and Carlos, who plays Luis, also lives in Barcelona, so that's where I knew him from.
Hmm.
So I just asked him. He said yes. He had no experience hiking at all, so for him, sleeping in a tent and doing all those things was very new. And then Bart, the actor that plays Chris. So what I did, I wanted to have a Dutch actor as well because I'm from the Netherlands, and I wanted to have that mix of two cultures so that they can speak English together, which then the film is a bit more, it travels a bit better for international audiences.
Hmm.
So I want to have a Dutch actor. I didn't have the money to go to a casting director.
Okay.
So then what I do is I just go to all the talent agencies' websites. I check out the profiles of their talent, and then I just make a list of all the talents that they have kind of in the bracket of the age that I want, and I just
Hmm.
stalk them online, see what I can find of them. And then with Bart, I found out that he actually hiked part of the Kungsleden, which is a trail in Sweden. So I
Ah.
thought he's an actor. He knows what hiking's like. I think this is a perfect combo. So after that, we did that. Is we never met in real life, the three of us together before shooting.
Oh,
So
wow.
we did Zoom calls, and then I already found out. Okay, the energy is good, but still, I had no idea what it's going to be like
Yeah.
when we actually meet. So I think also because Bart had another shoot, so he came also one day later than me and Carlos. So he came, and I think an hour later we did the first shot,
Wow.
and they just had super good chemistry, which was
Really
which was
did.
lucky. It is so lucky. Yeah,
Because a film like this, and I don't like to spoil too much, but it's because there's so many moments that are just silence with the two of them walking and going and this reflective, like
yeah,
you have to have that chemistry to make those moments of silence work, which were really nice. And
yeah,
now I want to talk about the third co-star of your film, the
mm,
Highlands, the where you were hiking. That's your third co-star. What was it like
yeah,
working with them? I mean, talk about guerrilla filmmaking.
yeah.
You know, talk about
Well,
your third co-star.
yeah, but the essence of this of also walking out in nature is you cannot control nature. In other parts
Nope.
of life, people try, but we all fail. So then in film, you always want to control everything. You want to control the lights, you want to control, and then but it just doesn't feel right to do that in a film like this. So we don't. So there's a script that, and we follow that to
Mhm.
the most part. But then if it rains, then we film in the rain. And if it's the weather is good, the weather is bad. If there's a lot of midges, like these little mosquitoes, then that's just the way it is, and that's what we need to work with then. So that gives the moment that you just release that as in okay, you have no control. All these really crazy and beautiful things happen because you're open to the idea of the film is not set. Nature will give us things. Um, but one of the interesting things was I don't want to write stuff with weather because you never know. But I thought, okay, it's summer in Scotland. I can write a couple of rain scenes. It's going to be fine. It was not fine. It was beautiful weather for the first 3 weeks.
Ah,
And I thought, if I come home with only blue skies and sun, no one's going to believe that we shot it this way. So in the end, we actually had to cut two scenes where they were walking through the rain because there was just not enough rain. And I think in the film, no one believes me when I tell this story. But if you look at the film, we covered it up pretty well that it still feels like a Scottish summer. But it was tricky sometimes. Yeah.
well, and there were some scenes where that rain was palpable.
Yeah, yeah, and why it's palpable is because we were there. Like, if you
Yeah.
see a scene where they're walking through the rain, then probably Twan, the camera guy, on his Ronin in the camera, he's walking with them, and then I have an umbrella,
Yeah.
trying not to make the camera wet while we walk. Like they are walking on the path, we are not walking on the path. So we also I have to watch out where we're walking and how it's going, and so it's not. There's no video village and me as the director getting a coffee, and no, it's me as the director holding the umbrella, making sure the camera doesn't get wet. Yeah.
Right. And it's beautiful. So I'm curious. You said that you took a couple of scenes out and you tried to go in sequence. So was there, and again, without spoiling too much, but everything you captured, was it everything you wanted it to be, or was there one moment that you captured that was just like this beautiful, happy accident?
Yeah, a lot of them. There was and I think one of the scenes that's most like that is when Huey's go swimming.
Mhm.
That's just Carlos coming up to me after a long day of hiking, but a beautiful sunset, and he said, "Oh, I'm just gonna wash my feet," and then it was like, "Oh, can we film that?" He said, "Yeah, yeah, sure. I can also just go for a swim." Yeah, yeah, perfect. Let's do it. And so I had to get Fraser, the camera guy, out of his tent because it was done, and he shot. I think he and Twan shot the scene on barefoot, and Bart was like, "I'm not gonna go get in the water," and I was like, "Perfect. That's just everything that your character needs to be needs to be in this moment." And that's how we shot that. And that's a big one. But there's all these other smaller moments, or there's a moment in the beginning where they're covered by midges. That was a scene that we actually want to do a quite interesting conversation, but it was just impossible because there were so many of these biting midges,
Yeah.
um, that we said, okay, we're not going to do the talking scene here, but then let's do exactly what's happening here.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, being with everyone, kind of being open to the situation and seeing. So also the actors, also the camera guy, everyone kind of seeing, oh, there's an opportunity here. Can we do something with this?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, if you read the script and you see the movie, there's a lot of these changes. Yeah.
Yeah. And so talk about some of those things. So like that scene with the swimming, which got some nice chuckles out of me when I was watching it. I was like, yeah, I would not get in that water either. I felt like I could see the breath coming out of the mouth. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not going swimming at that point.
Yeah.
I have to say the cinematography, it's absolutely gorgeous. These like postcard perfect long shots. Talk about the conversations you had with your cinematographer, with Twan Peeters. How did you decide how you wanted to frame this and capture this? I mean, you almost made me want to throw on my own backpack and hike. I'm not going to. I'm too lazy. But you almost inspired me.
Well, that's, maybe with the third film we'll push you over the edge. Um, I think one of the coolest things for me, and one of the most interesting things, we don't have a shot list. So because it's impossible, because we don't know what we're gonna see. So what we have is we have a couple of basic rules that we can test. So the idea for the cinematography here was we want to be a third person. So you cannot jump through space and time. So if we're going to follow one character, we cannot jump to the other one. And that was the basic idea. So we can also not know more than the characters are knowing.
Right.
That's it. And then we get to a place, and then me and Twan, we sometimes take an hour or an hour and a half, and we talk. What's the scene about? How do we feel it? How can we shoot it? Usually on a set you would use that for lighting, for setups, but we don't have any lights, so we
Yeah.
can take pretty much like the time that we want to really set up. And then usually we create a shot list and we do one shot and we change everything, because we then see like, oh wait, this is happening, so maybe we just need that, and then we're done. But then if you talk about some of the long takes, like the one where he's walking through the forest, or the ones where they're on the beach, the both of them. Usually, what we start off with is saying, "Okay, I say like this is kind of what I want to start with," and then we walk it once, me and Twan, and we kind of say, "Okay, this could be something, this could be something," and then we let it go. Then it is. I think that me and Twan have the same sensitivity and sensibility.
Mhm.
So usually the things that he feels, I agree with. But it's also the camera needs to follow the emotion of what the actor is doing. And the actor also needs to have a freedom to follow his instincts. I always feel that even though we've thought of something else, if there's an impulse from an actor, he needs to follow it, because if he doesn't, you feel the energy drop. So
Yeah.
better do that, and if we don't like it, we'll make that work another way. But then Twan has to follow
Yeah.
and still remain and follow the emotion of what's going on, and he can do that. And that's sometimes there's we had a scene, and then some of the I think Bart wasn't in the scene, and he talked to us later. He said, "Wow, I saw Bart me like doing this with his hands, and Twan, and then you did that." And Twan said, "I don't see that, but it's just because I feel it, and Twan feels the same, so we respond in the same way." And I think that's something in our collaboration that's very unique.
Yeah.
It's just really based on this is what we feel in the moment, and I trust him. Yeah.
Yeah. And it comes across beautifully. I mean, I was just in awe. It's interesting when you see films like this and you have these long pockets of silence, it's sometimes hard to connect, but I actually found myself connecting in those silent moments and with these two characters and this feeling of, being out in the open. And what was interesting to me too when I started watching this at first, because I will be honest, I went into this blind. Like I like to go into my movies blind when I can. And as I started watching this, at first I thought that I was watching a documentary because there's
Yeah.
such a naturalism to this that it just looked like I'm watching someone, capture this. And then of course I realized I'm like, oh no, this is a plot driven narrative. So I'm curious to know what inspired you to go, since you've done it these kind of hikes before, to go in a narrative directive versus a documentary directive to really capture this.
Well, I think because I want there's deeper layers that I want to tell, something of myself that I want to explore. So if and also when I'm out there by myself in nature, I don't want to film it. I want to experience it. So when, for example, me and my friend went to New Zealand, that's something that we talked about. Is are we going to make like a blog or something about it? But then then I'm experiencing nature through a lens, and I'm not really in the moment. And
Right.
then so that's why when I go myself, I want to experience it. And then if I have something that I feel it's not just I want to show the hike and I want to show people hiking because I think then a documentary would have been better. But for me, there's also a feeling or something of myself that I want to portray and a story there. Then that's very difficult for me to do in a documentary style. Yeah.
And yet we do have the companion documentary with this. We have True North, which
Yeah.
I checked out. So it was kind of fun to see, that side by side. So what inspired you to really do like a feature length documentary to accompany this as opposed to like a behind the scenes? I mean, you really get into the heart of the film.
Yeah, one is the fun part is we kind of have a 1 hour and 15 minutes travel documentary of our
Yeah.
holiday. It kind of feels like that, and that's just a lot of fun. And we have it from the first film as well. And but also we wanted to we want to take you in this story of how we do it. And if we want to make something that's rather long, like if I watch these hiking videos online, which I sometimes do, they could be an hour and a half of someone just walking, and I'm into it. So I wanted to get something that was kind of close to that, but also I love these behind the scenes.
Yeah.
The Lord of the Rings behind the scenes. I've watched it so many times. It's something that's not that we don't they don't really do that much anymore. Now it's just
Yeah.
some quick shots, 15, 10 minutes, whatever it is. And no, I think it's also very interesting, especially with the film like that we did. So many people ask me, how did you do that? And how did you do that? And how does that really work? And the other part was with the first film, we also got a lot of people that didn't believe that we actually did it. So there
Ah,
was also this part of, no, but just look at the documentary. And so we really wanted to emphasize more like, no, like we go there. We go to these places. I have 30 plus kilos in my backpack, and we walk up. If we are on the top of a mountain, there's no helicopters, there's
yeah.
no hotel around the corner. We actually do that. Um, and I think again, the most important thing also with making the films and also with the documentary, it's just fun. It's just a lot of fun. If it's not beneficial and if it just costs money, doesn't matter. I just really enjoy doing it, and that's the reason behind the film, both films and the documentaries. Yeah,
And now let's talk about a little bit about the journey that this film has had. Because this
yeah.
started as a small indie passion project, and all of a sudden it's blowing up. Talk about how it feels to be going on this journey with this film right now.
It's so crazy. At the moment, I'm in a hotel in Prague. Yesterday, I was in Austria. It's really something. It's kind of bizarre because, like I said, it felt like we just did a student film together.
Right.
The idea of the film was we have our own online platform with Tuesday Studio with my company,
Mhm.
And the idea was we'll put it on our platform. People can buy it. It's a TVOD, and that's it. That was the end of it. And that was what we did with the first film. The only thing that we wanted to do different was say, okay, let's do a little bit of PR in England so that more people get to know about our film. And
Right.
then we sent it to the newspaper, The Guardian, and they came back and gave us 4 stars, which was just it's still crazy. It was incredible. And then things kind of started becoming crazier. I think that week we got a message from a distributor in Australia, New Zealand, and we still thought like, no, we're not going to go to cinemas because cinemas they cut into our plan of doing it online. And but then we kind of changed that thought, thinking, okay, but maybe the cinemas are the best marketing tool for our online anyway. And also a film like this, if you see it in the cinemas, it's me as a director, I like that is the nicest thing.
Yeah.
So we signed Australia and New Zealand, and then a week later we had the Netherlands, and then it kind of went on to signing the cinema rights for the UK, for Belgium, now Luxembourg, Austria, Switzerland, Italy, Hungary, and we're still talking. And then I send it kind of just as, okay, we've already won. Let's see what we can do. I send it to the European Film Awards, which is kind of the Oscars of the European cinema.
Yeah. Hmm.
And then we got selected for the shortlist as well.
Yeah.
Which, in between the winners of Cannes, the winners of Venice, of Berlin, and then there's our film as well. And there's a bit of what is it? Imposter syndrome here. It's like when are the people like knocking at my door and laughing in my face? Like, did you really think that this was happening?
Right.
But every day it seems like it's real. Yeah, it's very, very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, my only regret is so when I watch this because I know it's coming out in the UK in the spring. I don't know what
Yeah,
the stateside release is. Like I'm stateside.
yeah,
Um, but I remember when I was told that it was about hiking, I had to at least plug my computer into my TV, so I was able
yeah,
to watch it on my 75-inch television, which
yeah. That's better already.
better than a computer screen. But I was like,
Yeah,
this is the kind of sweeping cinematography that I'm like, I want to see this on an IMAX screen.
and I
It's
think
just so beautiful.
then the image is one part, but what I am also very proud of is the sound, because if
Yeah,
you have the 5.1, so the image is just what you see in front of you, but the nice thing about
yeah,
nature, it's around you. So if you're in the cinema and you have a 5.1 surround sound and you close your eyes, and then the rain just washes over
yeah,
you, and you really feel that you're in the tent, you're engulfed in it. So um,
yeah.
yeah, that's we don't have that for online yet. I hope that that's going to come. So then if you have a 5.1 system, you can go that part further. But yeah, in the cinemas, it's that
Yeah.
extra. Yeah.
Well, and it's funny you say that about the sound because there was a moment where, and this is not a scary film, but you got me on a nice jump scare because there's a great cut about halfway through that I'll save where we're in a slight change of environment, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that's water.
Yeah, that's also because we kind of release you a little bit sometimes. We're like,
Yeah,
okay, people can drift. It's fine. It's not. We don't have to cut every 2 seconds. I think we have an average shot length of like 27 seconds, which
that
is
tracks. Yeah,
yeah, quite unheard of, I think, in film. So nowadays, but it's okay for you to drift. So much of
mhm,
film, I think, happens in the head of the viewer. We just need to get you back.
yeah.
Sometimes we do it with good sound. Yeah.
So I know I'm gonna have to let you go soon, but the one thing I want to ask, so whenever I have an opportunity to speak with filmmakers, because I work as an educator too in theater and film, I love to know to spread to the aspiring filmmakers that are watching this. Now that you've completed your second feature film, you have a few shorts under your belt. What would you say is your greatest best practice as a writer and director that you take with you when you go from project to project? And then the other side of that, what is that learning curve you try to avoid when you go from project to project?
Oof. I think what took me a long time is to kind of get away from the formulaic things, the
Mhm.
things that people are teaching, of how films are made, how you need to write. The idea of you need to write 6 pages a day, 5 hours a day. This is what works. I think the most important thing is to figure out your own the things that you like that work for you. I think there was I forgot his name, but there was all these writers and things, and they said you have to do so much work, and that just didn't really work for me. And then I found this one screenwriter, and he said the first thing that happens when I think of an idea, I lay on my couch for a month, and I thought that's exactly what I want to do, and that works for me. So I think with all those kind of things, it is every time figuring out, okay, what works for me, what makes me happy, what is fun for me, and that changes every project. I kind of have these little bits, but so the difficulty with that advice is that I kind of have to listen to so many people's process and then pick out the bits that sound like they work for you. And then the thing that I don't want to do, oh yeah, with the North, we set it up in 5 months. That was too fast. We were very
Mm,
lucky that it worked out that well, like with the casting, that it worked out.
right.
I don't need to put 5 years of my life into one film, but if I have at least a year, that would just be so much better. The stress of is this actually going to work? It was too much. Yeah.
There. And finally, what is it that you hope people take away from the film after they've spent this 2 hours plus time in your world?
Well, I think that they feel something. That's the main part. I think that if you watch the film and you really look at it from an only analytical point of view, trying to understand everything that's happening, I think that's tough. But if I can take you into the world and just let you sit there and enjoy and let it wash over you, and that whatever happens to you, that's what the story is. And I just hope that something happens to you. I think that's the most important.
Mm. Well, it's a beautiful film. There's so many layers with the characters, with the story, and the journey they go on. It's really beautiful. Bart,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much to taking the time to chat with me. So, for those
Anytime.
of you that are following me from the UK, The North will be coming to cinemas to you sometime in the spring of 2026. For
Yeah.
those of you that are here stateside with me, stay tuned.
We're working on it. We're working on it.
Awesome. Thank you so much and have a great day. And congrats
Thank you.
on the
You.
film and on enjoying the rest of the journey.
Thank you very much.